Welcome to Jamie's Curious Cave. On June 18, 2023, Titan, a submersible operated by OceanGate, went missing in international waters in the North Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. The submersible was on a tourist expedition to view the wreckage of the RMS Titanic with 5 individuals on board, including the founder and CEO of OceanGate, Stockton Rush. Due to the estimated 3 days of oxygen supply, there was a huge rescue effort by the U.S. Coast Guard and Canada's Coast Guard, which was unsuccessful. Until early on June 22, when evidence of the wreckage of the vessel started to emerge, leading to the tragic conclusion that the vessel imploded in the ocean depths and there were no survivors. Before we get into the specifics of this particular tragedy, let's put just how difficult deep-sea exploration is into context. It's easy to be in awe of aviation and space exploration because breaking free of gravity and flying through the air seem like such a feat. But in many ways, deep-sea craft are a much greater engineering challenge. It all comes down to pressure. That pressure is the result of the column of air that reaches above us all the way into outer space. All those air molecules above us pushing down result in that pressure. But water is a much more dense fluid than air. So for every 10 meters or 32.8 feet you dive, the pressure increases by 1 atmosphere or 14.7 psi. The OceanGate Titan was rated for a mass dive depth of about 4,000 meters. Now that might sound insane, but actually it's not even the record for the deepest human beings have been. That honor goes to James Cameron and the Deep Sea Challenger built in Australia in 2012. The Deep Sea Challenger reached the deepest part of the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean. The deepest point on Earth at a mind-boggling 11,000 meters or 36,000 feet. And that hopefully puts in perspective why more people have been to space than have been into the deepest parts of our oceans. Now let's talk about the red flags that plagued OceanGate from the get-go. First, the design limitations of the Titan required that the hatch be bolted down by 17 to 18 bolts from the outside. This means there's no way for the passengers inside to open the hatch. They'd have to rely on ground crews to open it. Now, this is understandable because these deep-sea vessels have to be incredibly tight. They have to be very strong. The water seals have to hold, and that's all complicated. Therefore, one of the fears early on was that the vessel could actually surface and be at the surface somewhere along the Atlantic undetected and still die from suffocating because they couldn't open the hatch and the air could run out. The Titan also didn't have GPS or other navigational instruments on board and didn't have a locator beacon either, like a black box on an aircraft. Most subs use GPS for near-surface navigation, which doesn't work in deeper waters. In deeper waters, they use dead reckoning course information obtained by the ship's gyro compass, measured speed and estimates of local ocean currents. The Titan, in contrast, appeared to rely only on data provided by the surface support vessel. In 2019, OceanGate published a blog post explaining why the Titan was not certified by any ship authority, which is a huge red flag. OceanGate stated, "The vast majority of marine and aviation accidents are actually a result of operator error, not mechanical failure, and argue that classification focused solely on the physical state of the vessel and not the corporate actions, which are characterized as a constant committed effort and a focused corporate culture of maintaining high-level operational safety. The craft was also controlled by a video game controller, which sounds like some cool Silicon Valley way of thinking, beanbag chairs and break rooms, but it's downright stupid. Military spec products go through incredible rigorous testing, making them safe in all operating environments. For example, as expensive as Apple's Vision Pro headset is at $3,500, it is downright cheap compared to the $400,000 that it cost to get a helmet for the F-35 fighter jet. David Lockridge, the director of marine operations at OceanGate, was told that OceanGate would rely on the real-time acoustic monitoring system, which he felt would not warn the crew of potential failure with sufficient time to safely abort the mission and evacuate. The day after he filed his report, he was summoned to a meeting in which he was told the acrylic window that you look out of was only rated for 1,300 meters because OceanGate would not fund the design of a window rated for 4,000 meters. In that meeting, he reiterated his concerns and added that he would refuse to allow crew testing without a hull scan. Lockridge was dismissed from his position as a result. During a human-piloted descent on December 10, 2018, Stockton Rush used the vertical thrusters to overcome unexpected positive buoyancy when descending past 10,000 feet. These submersibles are like a balloon with air inside, so it's hard for them to dive. And so they have different ways and ballast systems to be able to accomplish that. For whatever reason, around 10,000 feet, he had to use vertical thrusters to continue his descent. And when this happened, it caused interference with the communication systems between spinning propellers, the disturbance in the wake of the water coming off those propellers and everything else. They lost contact for 1 hour. Ignoring all these, instead Rush was thrilled to call himself the second person to solo dive to 13,000 feet after James Cameron. After these dives were completed in January 2020, the hull of the Titan began showing signs of cyclical fatigue and the craft was derated to 3,000 meters. The hull was repaired and rated again for 4,000 meters of diving depth, which definitely would have shortened the operational lifetime of the vessel. Now, coming to the incident, one of the first things to realize about an implosion of the vessel is that there was probably not a lot of suffering. The people probably just died instantly. We mentioned how much weight you would feel at these depths and you would pretty much just get crushed. So what happened is they built a vessel which was in and of itself pretty impressive, including the carbon fiber layup, the composite structure, titanium. This was an exotic craft and it had a viewing window to go see the Titanic. But the problem is every craft, every vessel, every engineering device has an operational lifetime. Now, the way engineers do this is by testing something and figuring out how many cycles can we hit this with before problems start to emerge. And then they add a safety factor. To be fair, they did successfully go down and come back 3 times. But honestly, any vessel that goes to the Mariana Trench or 12,000 feet in the Atlantic will probably not have an operational life of more than a couple of cycles. Did they fully understand what this vessel was? Was it fully known? Were the risks really well known to them? Probably not. So those are things that we can try to improve upon. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more.